get to you first, just to give us a sense of what is happening in at least the eastern part of DR Congo that has even prompted, you know, Nairobi to send its troops. Just give us a sense of the situation there so that we can understand the context within which we're having this conversation.
Zainabu, that's a very good question. Give me a few minutes to give a global picture so that our audience can understand what's going on.
Right.
First is Kenya is going. Why is Kenya going and ready to go? When you look at the East Africa, Eastern Central Africa, Kenya has the largest economy controlling this region. Kenya is worth 145 billion US dollar, only followed by Ethiopia, Tanzania, Congo, and lastly, Burundi. Now, Congo itself, DRC Congo itself, is estimated to have $25 trillion of resources in its underneath the country.
Right.
The richest country in the world is the US,
right,
with $25 trillion. So imagine the size of Congo and also the ability for Congo to develop. And then you are looking at the wealthiest countries in the world will be Africa in the future. Now, so let me get back to Kenya. Kenya is #4 largest economy in sub-Saharan Africa and #6 in all over Africa. And then we're looking at another thing, which is called global firepower, the country readiness to defend itself and also help others. We're looking at manpower, we're looking at range of weaponry, we're looking at logistic flexibility, and we're looking at the budget that Kenya has got. So Kenya is the largest military readiness in East and Central Africa. In other words, for years, Kenya was considered a relaxed leader of East Africa because Southern Africa is basically controlled by South Africa. West Africa is controlled by Nigeria. North Africa is controlled by Egypt. But Kenya, until recently, until Uhuru came to power, President Uhuru, was completely reluctant where things are happening. The issue is what happened in our neighbor, like Somalia, like South Sudan, like Uganda, like DRC Congo, affect everything we do here. We're moving closer as Africans in realizing what people like Kwame Nkrumah, Jamal Abdel Nasser, Nyerere, Jomo Kenyatta, Tom Mboya, their aspiration was to have United States of Africa.
Right.
But President Nyerere argued that it needs to be done from a regional standpoint, which is the most practical way. We are realizing that. Today, right now, you and I, when we need a passport, we get East African passport, and then underneath is Kenya.
Right.
The same thing, DRC Congo is going to do the same thing with Rwanda and everybody else. Now, when you're looking at our economy here, and looking at the suburbs in Nairobi, there are cars from everywhere, from DRC Congo to Tanzania to Uganda to South. These people are investing in our economy. They're investing in real estate. They're creating jobs. So some of the resources in Kivu area, which is the biggest, one of the biggest in the world, is finding its way here. And so that whole area is very, very critical to the development of Africa. And therefore, it is very important for Kenya to go in as part of the East Africa community, to go in to solve African problem by African people for the first time. So we are looking at the development of M23. Development of M23 will not be there if Uganda and Rwanda, for instance, get along right now. If Burundi pull out of the area, if Congo, Uganda, Burundi, Rwanda, all these are people which are countries which are involved. Mm-hmm. They're extracting resources. Mm-hmm. They're exporting what they don't have, but is coming from that area. Mm-hmm. They're supporting the issue. And so when Africans are going in, ideally, preferably, will be not to include Burundi, Rwanda, and Uganda in the scene. But we are going to solve the problem, and everybody must have the responsibility. Kenya has put its 4.5 billion ahead of time to support its force. I am serving on the Inter-University Council of East Africa until last year. Kenya is one of the countries that always pays due on time. So we are very pleased that President William Ruto has allowed what President Kenyatta stepped forward to do, which is really create leadership for this country by action. We are paying our dues, we are involved directly. And if you remember, President Kenyatta was the only head of state at the inauguration of President Seke in Congo. And we have created a relationship and a potential, huge potential for economy of scale, for our banking system, our development, our agriculture, and everything. It's a very critical area where we have to be directly involved.
All right.